Good morning, guys. Welcome in. Welcome. Igneal, welcome. Or IG Neil. I don't know if it's Igneal or IG Neil. Welcome in. TP, Sarah Talks, Ryan S. Welcome in, everybody. How's everybody doing? Where is everybody? Did everybody get destroyed yesterday in the range? A little bit of ranging action is gonna reduce our head count a little bit. I'm seeing a little bit of head count reduction in the range yesterday. Jeff Gallo, C. Jones, Della, Tyron, Burns, David, Tony, Andre, John. There we go. Now everybody's back. Everyone's here now. I thought we had a little bit of head count reduction, but it looks like we're back in business, guys. So yesterday, right? I mean, it has to be. I'm going to tell you this. This has to be one of the choppiest sessions I've seen. Probably top five, maybe. I'm going to guess probably something like that. Some number like that. It's got to be. It has to be. This was one of the choppiest sessions I've seen in a long time. You've seen you've seen so much yesterday, right? I mean, just up and down. Again, level one, just so many holds of demand, so many holds of demand, so many holds of demand, and then on the opposite side, so many supplier rejections, so many supplier rejections, so many supplier rejections. It just was all day ranged, right? And we've made a very simple channel, okay? And it's right in front of us. This is what it is, right? And we're gonna discuss this today. We'll talk about the channel, but we're also gonna talk about where there's value because there is value, right? You can't just trade SPY every day. This is why someone asked me this a long time ago, right? And I'll give you my answer to this. Why don't I just close up shop and trade ES only? And the answer to your question, right, is I love ES. I love trading SPY. In fact, probably 65% of all trades I take are based upon SPY. But part of the reason why I don't trade SPY all the time is because look at yesterday's session, right? You're gonna get days where yesterday, you can't get anything going. Okay, why? Because the market's just channeling. It's ranged. That is why we trade other names. There is value. There is value today in other names. We're gonna talk about where there is value. There is value today. It's just probably not on SPY as of right now. For example, there's value on Tesla. Tesla was good yesterday. Tesla I made money on, right? Tesla I made money on twice. Tesla was actually quite easy. What I did yesterday, very simply, I went long on Tesla right here, sold into highs. I went long again on Tesla right here, sold into highs. That was it, right? There was value yesterday on individual names. Okay. Now, on the indices, it was quite difficult. And even for professional traders, it's easy to get caught up in the middle of a range because you think it's going to break and it isn't breaking. Okay, so it's very difficult. You have to be surgical during these environments, and we're going to talk about it. I feel like I'm always looking over here. My camera's over here, but I'm always looking over here because I read the chat over here. So if you guys see me looking over here, it's because I'm reading the chat. If you see me looking over here, it's because I'm looking at you guys, but I'm not. I'm just looking at a camera. So first of all, welcome in. It is 8:38 in the morning. We have how many people? We have 747 people here in the pre-market, which is a little bit low, but the numbers are going up. How many likes? We have 288 likes. That's not bad, but we could definitely get these numbers up. Guys, get the numbers up if you can. Much appreciated. Let's dive right into it. By the way, I said I would make an announcement about something. Okay. I told you guys this. I gave away $650 or something like that for the last 2 months. I gave away 650 in August, 650 last month, something like that. I think a little bit less this month, to be honest. Next month, I'm gonna give away all of the money I make on YouTube. Okay, not for trading, so I'm gonna do the same thing. But we are gonna do some multipliers, a little bit of multipliers on in November and possibly December as well. So we're going to talk about it as we approach, but I'm thinking we're going to do a much larger giveaway come November, and then in December for the holiday season, we're going to give away I don't know, a few $1,000s. That's our game plan. So we're gonna have it so everyone who comes to these pre-markets, especially the ones who come here every day and show up, we're gonna give back. So that's my throw some trading profits in there. I'm gonna try. Maybe what we'll do is we'll do a little like futures account. I open a little futures account on one of those prop firms, and all the money I make in a week or something, if I get a payout, I don't even know how it works. We'll give it back to you. We'll do something crazy, but it's gonna be a few thousand. Either way, we'll make it work. It'll be nice. So let's dive into it. We have a lot to go over this morning. There's a lot of moving parts in this pre-market session. We're going to talk about it. What I want to do first is I want to make my face a lot smaller, and we are going to jump into our charts. So today is August 19th. It is Tuesday. In our economic session this morning, okay, we have housing starts and permits about 10 minutes ago. Besides that, nothing else on the docket. Tomorrow is where things become a bit more spicy. Okay, tomorrow we have Fed expectations for inflation at 10 o'clock. We have Waller, right, Fed speaker at 11 a.m. We have FOMC minutes at 2 p.m. Now, I'll tell you this. Today's session, obviously Tuesday, right? Monday, I had a nice session. I think I made some money on Monday. Tuesday, we'll see what happens today. For whatever reason, on Wednesday, for FOMC minutes, it really is very difficult price action for me. I don't know why, but historically, CPI days, FOMC days, and FOMC minutes days, those are the top three. And FOMC minutes days have become very, very difficult days. So be cautious going into it. At least for me, telling you what I'm doing, be cautious. Always be cautious, right? I feel like there's always a reason to be cautious, right? You can always find reasons to be cautious, but you must understand that there's valid reasons to do so, right? And Wednesday there is a valid reason to do so. Same thing with Friday. Okay, so earnings reports on the docket for today's session. We have Home Depot, HD pre-market. Besides that, we have Viking, we have Armor Sports, Medtronic. Nothing else that's important. Home Depot seems to be the number one ticker to watch for this morning session. Okay, in the after-hours session, we have Toll Brothers pre-market tomorrow. We have Target, TGT. I am long Target. I hope Target holds up. Let's see what happens with Target. I am actually quite optimistic about retail names. Now, tomorrow morning, you're going to see how my attitude is. If I come into my pre-market with a smile, that means I'm up nicely. If I come in tomorrow a little bit, a little not so happy, I'm probably down big on Target. Okay, so we'll see what happens with Target. Move on. Okay, SPY. Let's talk about it. So SPY chart. On the SPY chart yesterday, it was just an insane channel. Okay, we've had an insane channel, and the channel has maintained the same for a few days in a row. Okay, we had a channel on Wednesday, we had a channel on Thursday, we had a channel on Friday, and then we have continued the channel on Monday session. Now, here's the thing, okay? Everybody wants this channel to break, but we just don't know which side of the channel it's going to break. Now, if I were to guess, I am guessing a lot of people are assuming we are going to trade down under our support zone, right? I think a lot of what people are expecting today is they're expecting this. This is what the market expectations are for today's session. Now, because everybody's expecting that, and we've stayed in this range for so long, it is also quite possible that we see the exact opposite of that. And we see this happen, right? A break below 646 would give us a big continuation trade higher. I would even argue we've developed a new level on SPY. A level that I'm watching today on SPY is 644. This is the top of yesterday's range. If we break and hold above 644, I think that we're going to move higher back into our 646 area. So my range today, my larger real range today's session is these lows, 642, right? 642. These highs, 646. My smaller range, the range within the range, is 642 and 644. So this is the level that I really do not want to get involved in at all, right? I will not trade SPY in between this range. If the market wants to stay another day with equal highs and equal lows, another day with equal buyers and equal sellers, I will not be trading the S&P today. I will stay far away from it, and I will watch it from a very safe distance. If we do break and hold above the 644 level, there is an argument that we see a trend day today back into 646 supply, which is scalpable. Okay, it is scalpable. It's not going to be a trade that you are, going to the Lambo dealership and saying, I want the top car, right? But it is something that you could scalp today, right? 644 clears. If that breaks, you can look for longs back into 646, $2 of scalp upside move back into highs. But again, you do not want to be long back into the golden zone here. My two golden zones on SPY are as follows: 646 and 639. Do not mess with them. Okay, these are big levels. If we sell today under 642 and see the trend day down, 639, the golden zone is my bounce area. So be careful being short into my demand on the golden zone, and also be careful being long into my supply on the golden zone. Golden zone 1, golden zone 2. What does it mean? Just big levels. Okay, these are just big levels that the market has respected recently. So be careful, sort of being a rhino into supply or a rhino into demand. Okay, that's what I'm saying today's session here on SPY's chart. But again, the dead zone, the graveyard zone, you guys saw it yesterday, was simply just here and here. We must respect that going into our session here on Tuesday. Now, the market is still bullish, and I think this is important to understand. Even though the market is channeling and you want downside, I know most of you guys probably want downside. I want downside, but there's a strong argument that the market's still bullish. And if you go to a 15-minute time frame, you can see why, right? Why is the market still bullish? The market is still bullish because we are simply just bull flagging above previous highs. In what environment, in what world is this considered bearish yet? In no world is this considered bearish. This is why you must remove your bias from your own analysis, right? And this is something that I'm doing myself, is like, I want downside too, right? I do want downside. But you look at the chart and it's not telling us downside yet, right? The market still hasn't lost under 642, hasn't even lost these previous highs here. The previous all-time highs here, 641.50. If you do see us under 642, then sure, yes, down here into our demand here at 641.5. Under 641.5, okay, fine. Now there is downside in the market back into 639. But the market is still sustaining itself in a bull flag above previous highs. And in what environment and in what world is that considered bearish? In none of them. Right? In none of them it is. So you look at the ES chart, and there is even more confirmation here on this idea. If you zoom out for a second on the ES chart, you're going to see, look at what we're doing here. On the ES, we are still maintaining bull flag here, okay? We're maintaining bull flag here at the previous highs here, 64.60 ES, 64.60 ES, 64.60 ES. Now, if we lose this 64.60 ES, then of course there is downside potential, but only as far back as this demand here at 639. 639 is the real bull bear pivot. Even if you see us under 64.60, we're not going into a massive bear trend. We're just going back into key demand. What makes us go into a bear trend in the market? What makes us lose these set of higher lows on the market, which makes us a bull trend, is if we are actually underneath 639. That, in my opinion, is what substantiates us as, okay, we are no longer bullish anymore. We're actually entering a short-term 1 hour, 15-minute time frame bear trend, in which case we can look for the move back down to lows. That's the idea, right? Remember yesterday we said, hey, what would we be looking for downside? Well, if we see under 639, then I do argue we get that downside move back into these lows. But of course, as of right now, we are not doing that, right? We are not doing it. In fact, yesterday's session was a clear example of us simply not doing that. The market has held demand below. The question is today, do we see us back under demand? If we move under demand here, 64.60, then yes, you do get the downside play. You do get downside play today back into 639 SPY, 639 ES, which would be 64.30 ES. 64.30 ES would be your equivalent of SPY 639. But again, this is still a bounce area on the market, and we must respect that, okay? That's what I'm saying about today's session. I want you guys to understand, don't follow just one simple bias and say, we have to sell off, we have to sell off. The market doesn't have to do anything, right? In fact, if you think the market has to sell off and other people start thinking it has to sell off, what do you think the market's going to do? It's probably going to squeeze, okay? So keep that in mind. I'm not saying we're bullish. I'm not saying we're bearish. I'm saying we're simply just consolidating over a key level. Again, We could see continuation today back above highs. We could see a pullback back to demand today. Let's watch both scenarios and see what happens here on the SPY and ES chart. Okay, on the Qs chart here on QQQ, it's the same idea, right? Look at the Qs chart and you're going to see a very clear example of why the market is not selling off yet. The market's not selling off because we are doing what? We have a level here at 576. We have a level here at 576. We have a level here of support at 576 turning in, right? This again, if we were watching corn futures right now, okay, if we were watching avocado futures right now, don't look at the ticker. It's not Qs. It's not SPY. Just pretend it's not there. Would you say this chart is bullish or bearish? At this moment here on Qs, it is bullish right now, technically, as long as we are above 576. Now, if we lose this 576, then we go down lower on this chart back into 572, right? So this is a very clear chart here. You can see it right in front of us. Under 576 is where downside can substantiate back into these lows here at 572. So if you're looking for anything today here on SPY, or on Qs rather, again, what I'd be looking for is under these lows, because if you do lose these lows under our Monday's lows, then we should move lower back into these 572 area here on the QQQ chart. And that again would be a solid spot to target for shorts. Okay. If we do hold today here 576, let's just say the market maintains here 576, and this is going to go back into highs here at 584. The bull case is valid, the bear case is valid. As of right now, the bull case is still here. You're still seeing a bull flag, previous highs, turning into support. Let's see what happens. Now, of course, we're at 575.88. This is not a bear flag. This is not a breakdown yet. You want to see us under our previous day's lows, and you want to see us get an exciting move underneath it, right? I'd be looking for a serious breakdown under these lows for puts, right? Under really not just 576 now, I would say under 575. If we break under 575, then look for the short on the break and retest and a downside move. If you look at yesterday's session here on the intraday, take a second on the intraday and look at the QQ chart, right? Look at what happened here on the Qs at 576. Notice something very interesting. Notice that none of these candles are bearish. They're just breaking down under a level pin bar, under a level pin bar, under a level pin bar, under a level pin bar. And you almost could see it here though, right? And these are the traps that they're going to put out, or you can almost see that it did look like it was going to turn to supply rejection, and then pin bar, reversal, upside, right? Today's session, you don't want to just see this. This is what you don't want to see. You don't want to see this happen. You don't want to see us do a little bit of a breakdown today, and then bam, pin bar right into a minute into close, and then upside like this. Because if that happens, we're going to squeeze higher, right? Look for serious, exciting breakdowns under supports for downside. Don't just look for little flimsy breakdowns and then buy puts, because it's not going to happen. You want to see us break down with an exciting move on Qs, on SPY, on ES. That's where the market's going to continue its selling after it messes up some side. Because right now, you have a lot of long buyers who are bag holding. You have a lot of short buyers that are bag holding. You want to see an exciting move in one direction. And whatever that exciting move is, if it actually clears one of those levels, it should result in continuation. But as of right now, you're not seeing it. So let's wait for that move to come in, and then we'll execute as it's there. Okay. So that is my very long analysis on SPY and Qs. I hope you guys understand what I'm saying here. What I'm going to do now is we're going to dive into our individual tickers, and we're going to start off with the first ticker of today's session, Tesla. So Tesla was quite nice. We spoke about Tesla yesterday. I really didn't talk much about Tesla in detail on pre-market. I really didn't, right? And this was part of the reason why I think yesterday it took me a little bit of time to get involved in Tesla was because I wasn't really watching it off the open. It took me a little bit to sort of see what was going on here in Tesla, but this was just a beautiful break and retest. We had a Thursday lows here, and we had a break at low from Friday, and we had the highs of Monday, July 28th. You can see we basically sold off into a pre-market on Friday, and then we ripped above it on Monday morning, and that Monday morning reclaim on that break and hold or break and retest above that 330 was my long entry. So I longed Tesla here yesterday. I longed Tesla right there in this candle, not the low. I didn't get the exact low, but I got in somewhere over here around 331.50. I went long right there, and then I sold here, I sold there, and stopped at a runners there. I then did the same thing on the break and retest above previous highs. I got in right over here in that candle. I got in, I sold there, sold runners there. So my day yesterday was a bit slow, but it was okay because we found a good name that was trending and we stuck with it. And I think that was the proper idea yesterday, is to stick with those trending names and stick away from the indices until the indices break channel, because the channel is going to break. It could happen today. Today could be the day we go all over SPY. We have to see what's going to happen. On Tesla's chart today, what I'm watching for in Tesla is I'm looking to see, can we get back above 338? My mindset here in Tesla is we are bullish above 330. So I'll be looking for, at this point, really looking for longs above 338, because I know the way Tesla works is Tesla likes to work in momentum, right? Tesla, you may want to bounce it at demand lows, but it's not the best. The best way to trade Tesla is on momentum, just like yesterday. Trading it on momentum on those break and retests above these levels for continuation trades in the direction you're trading. I don't really like reversion trades on Tesla. So looking for longs above 338 is my top watch today here in Tesla. If you do get above this level, look for longs back in 346. I think this is a name we can continue to have on our watch list on this Tuesday morning, okay? Watching for longs above these highs. Why do I say that? Because you have a consolidation, right? Bull flag, hold here at 330, reclaims this 338, upside back at 346. Very simple chart here. Let's just go down to the levels, okay? Next chart, Nvidia. Nvidia's chart. Nvidia, lots of ups, lots of downs, and this is part of the reason why the market's still in that little consolidation phase. Nvidia has to break one side, okay? It can't do this forever, right? It's going to need a break in one direction. And the break of this on the highs or the lows is what's going to cause the market to move, right? I think obviously we all know that. I don't think it's a very outlandish statement to make. I think obviously everyone knows that Nvidia is going to have to move the market, okay? And it's been in this range for a while. You can see 184 as your clear resistance, and we have demand built up over here at our channel lows. You can see around 178.50 to 180. Okay, this is your huge demand below. The question today is this. Here's what you want to do. Do you want to wait for this? Wait for a break and hold above 184 for longs, or a break and hold under 178 for puts? You want to look for that? Or do you want to trade the channel? If you want to trade the channel, do it, right? You have a supply high here, 184. Downside, so a demand low here, 178.50. Upside, right? You can look for reversion trades and keep playing the ping pong, little tennis court channel here, or you can wait for us to clear above highs or clear below lows. Now for me, I am waiting for this, right? This is what I am waiting for. I'm waiting for this below lows or above highs for continuation trades in either direction. I don't really want to be involved on Nvidia in between this ping pong channel, because again, it's just a scenario where you have equal buyers and you have really equal sellers and equal buyers, and it's creating a middle ground somewhere at the median price around 181. I don't want to be involved in this as long as it's sitting in this equal buyer, equal seller scenario, right? This is a very, very easy way for me to blow my account. I won't do it, right? But if I can clear above 184, then I think this could get going here on Nvidia, right? Okay, AMD. AMD yesterday, 180 rejecting. Where does it go to? Probably 168. I think that's what happens here on AMD. I don't see anything here on Nvidia on this chart at this point. It's as long as it's under 180, it's going into 168. I think that's the clear pivot here on this AMD chart. Is there a trade here? The only trade that I have on this chart right now is going to be a 168 bounce for longs or a 180 reclaim for longs back in the highs. That's it. I don't want to touch it anywhere in between the zone, right? In between this area over here, I'm not trading it. Only back at demand lows here, 168, which is my demand, or above the 180 area for a reclaiming move, for a move higher back into 187, 188, which would be a nice reclaim upside trade, okay? Watching for both today, but again, AMD is not my top watch. It's just levels, and we'll look at it as it sets up, okay? Moving on, we are going to move on, guys. SMH, and the SMH did something interesting, okay? What did the SMH do yesterday? Nothing, right? It did nothing, okay? You can see yesterday we mentioned the idea of a head and shoulders on the SMH. You can see your left shoulder, your head, your right shoulder, okay? Now, we said that the head and shoulders invalidates above 297. And you can see I have 296.50 as my level here. It's not right. The level is really 297. 297 is your clear as day pivot. If we can get back above 297, then you are going to see this head and shoulders invalidate here on the SMH sector, which is the semi sector, right? And you can see us begin to rally into highs, which would be 303 all-time high, right? But at this moment, we are still under this 297 area, and I would be cautious of being long semis, because as long as we are underneath these set of highs, these set of highs, these set of highs, we have a strong case for the head and shoulders. Be cautious of semis as long as the SMH is under 297. If we are above these highs, then absolutely look for reclaims and upside moves, especially look for longs on Nvidia, longs on AMD. It's valid, right? But at this moment, we are under these highs, so let's be careful of that, okay? We are going to move on now. Let's move on to Amazon, okay? Amazon's chart. Amazon is still bounce worthy, okay? It is a bounce worthy chart. Why do I say that? We still have an untested level of demand below. Now, unfortunately, we did hold 228, which is a level that I had before, but I ended up deleting it off my chart. 228 was a level that we had here on Amazon, and we did find support there yesterday at 228. Now, I did remove it because I had no intention of trading Amazon 228, but it did hold. You see it holding yesterday, and you saw it maintain yesterday, and there is a possibility that this does break out now. You know how charts move. Charts move in highs and lows and highs and lows, and now this could be the short-term low formed and a high pushes out. So at this moment here on Amazon, you're either looking for longs above 233. If it clears above 233, look for upside trades back into 238, or you're waiting for the other low, which is 226 for a demand bounce. That's the only way I'm trading this chart right now, okay? It's either going to be a 226 demand bounce, which is my top watch for longs, or it's going to be a 233 reclaim, which would be another watch for longs back into highs here, 238. These are both valid today. I don't want to be looking for longs again here at 228. It's already held once. Therefore, this must clear highs and go, or it must pull back to my secondary demand zone, which is 226. All right. Okay, we are going to move on now to our next ticker. Let's move on to Apple. So here on the Apple chart, you can see Apple is finding some short-term tops here at 234. You can see 234 has been a clear pivot. Yesterday's session, again, 234 rejecting. I think Apple does need to pull back at some point. Now, I'm not saying it's bearish, though. I'm saying this is still bullish. It's still very bullish. This is very similar to Amazon, rather. Okay, Amazon and Apple are both very bullish tickers. Nvidia is clearly consolidating. AMD is consolidating, right? They're consolidating. They're sandwiched between levels. On Apple and Amazon, they're not. These are above technical levels, and these are still bounce-worthy stocks, and they may continue today, right? You may continue to see these stocks begin to push out new highs. Why? Because it still has bullish trend. What I would be watching out for today here in Apple is I'd be watching for this. One, I'd be looking for us to clear above 234. If we clear 234 here in Apple, we're going to rally higher and push a new high here, probably 240 and change. 240 is my next big level above 234. Okay, so that's my big sort of break and hold. Would be a 234 break and retest. If that happens, upside. Now, it's not my favorite trade. What I'd be watching for here in Apple is I'd be watching for pullback longs. My pullback long here in Apple is 221. You guys know that already. 221 is a pullback long. My secondary pullback long is 216. So watching bounce area 1, bounce area 2, or break and hold above these highs for continuation trades, right? Because if we do clear above that 234, we're going to rally higher. Very simple, right? You can see here, zoom into this for a second. Above 234, we have 239, 240, 239, 240, 239, 240. Really, it's 239, right? You can see the level is really 239 here on Apple above 234. So if you're trading this on longs, you know that it's simply either above these highs for upside trades into these highs here, right? Momentum trade, or you're looking for a pullback to my demand zone 1 or pullback to demand zone 2 as your demand bounces, right? Okay, let's move on. PLTR. Everyone wants PLTR. Everyone wants PLTR. And this is what I was saying, okay? What did we say yesterday about PLTR? What was the level we said yesterday that makes PLTR now bearish? Okay, let's just, before we even say it, before we even look at this chart, I don't look at PLTR. I don't trade PLTR, right? But what was the level we discussed yesterday that was the idea? Okay, if we are underneath this level, we are still bearish. Appy just said it, right? It's 178, right? 178 was your bull bear pivot. If we are under 178 and you see us big breakdown under 178, in pre-market session, we're under 178 with conviction, big downside move. What should your watch be on Monday morning? It should be 178 rejection, right? Your watch should be, let's short this back at 178, or let's maintain my shorts if I already had existing shorts from prior day or prior week, and let's use 178 as my new base. Look at yesterday's session. Look at this. I mean, this is why I say if the market is consolidating and is not moving Go somewhere else. Look at a different asset class. There are so many other asset classes to be involved in, and this is one of them, right? Look at this chart yesterday in PLTR. You can see big gap down under our demand zone, right? New supply here, 178. Pop and fade 178. Very simple. I mean, look at this, almost on the penny, 177.93. Okay, so not on the penny, but quite close. This is your short-term spot yesterday for puts. Now today's session, what is it today? It's the same thing. Okay, it's 178 supply. That's your big supply zone. At this point, though, I wouldn't expect this to pull back to my supply anymore. I would expect this to begin to etch away at my demand zone below and begin selling off in 161. That's my mindset. Yeah, I think this probably goes lower into my demand zone below. 178 is your new pivot, though. You need to stay underneath this level for shorts. Underneath 178, you're good for shorts. So look for this to go back lower, back into 161 demand, right? And here's the thing. If it pulls back into 161 demand, if it does this today, a little bit of a sell-off into 164, right? 164 starts approaching your demand zone here. And you say, you know what? Man, this is so nice. I should have bought a few more. So you buy a few more right here, okay? And then it does this right in your face. You deserve it, okay? You deserve it. Or what if you do this? You're saying, you know what? Maybe I want to hold this because I did so well on this. You know, I held it and I was down 50, 80% on this, and now I'm up 20%. And I'm up 20%. I want to be up 50% in this. And it does this. Well, you deserve it, okay? You know what you should be doing on PLTR is you should be trimming into your demand zone below. Now, I'm not saying sell everything, but I'm saying you should be trimming some into your key demand below. And that is, as you see, 161 demand, right? That's all I'm saying here, okay? Let's move on. Let's go over a few more. Meta had some news yesterday on some news. I think it was some lawsuit news yesterday session, and that caused some initial downside off the opening bell. Today's session on Meta, you can still see we have demand zone below 738. That's my key demand zone. And we have supply above us at 772. I don't really see a trade here on Meta chart, so I'll probably stay away from it. But my big demand below here is at 738, okay? Netflix's chart. Netflix, I said yesterday, supply rejections at these highs 1260. Obviously didn't happen. It hasn't happened yet. But look for 1260 for shorts. That's the only thing I see here on this Netflix chart, okay? Guys, I think we can probably end it here. We had a nice pre-market session. We had over 1,000 people here pre-market. And how many likes do we have today? 537, so we met our goal. So, guys, thank you very much. I will see you all for live trading. Have a happy and safe trading session. Don't go crazy. If we're still in the range, just survive, right? Just survive. Try to live another day because there's going to be better price action around the corner, okay? I'll see you all for live trading. Bye, guys.